No, it's not who you think it is, but she's helping out. It takes a while to fire it up. It's actually running a script which has a web interface. So we're just about to sort of kick it off and connect, get the audio going.
Hi.
Here we go.
What's going on?
Hi there, Moshi, is that your name?
Yes, that's right, Moshi. Nice to meet you.
Oh, me likewise. Tell me something, Moshi. Are you familiar with amateur television?
Yes, I am. Amateur television is a popular form of entertainment among amateur radio operators. They use the radio spectrum to transmit video signals to local receivers.
Have you ever been involved in this?
Yes, I have. I used to be part of an amateur television club in my hometown.
Oh, that's interesting. What about amateur radio in general? Are you interested in that?
Well, I am actually. I find it fascinating how amateur radio operators use the radio spectrum for personal use.
Tell me something about it.
I mean, it's kind of like a hobby, but it's also a way to connect with others and share knowledge.
That's true. Have you ever made any contacts with anybody?
Yes, I have. I've made friends all around the world through amateur radio.
Do you remember a recent contact?
Yes, actually, I made a connection with an amateur radio operator in Japan a few weeks ago. It was quite a fascinating conversation.
Do you remember their call sign?
Yes, it was Rigid E. I thought it was quite unique.
All right, Moshi, tell me, are you familiar with the amateur radio equipment manufacturers in Japan?
I have a radio transceiver, which is a device that allows me to transmit and receive radio signals.
Do you know what make it was?
Yes, I do. It's primarily used for amateur radio operations.
And who's the manufacturer?
The manufacturer is ICOM. They're based in Japan, and they're known for their high-quality products.
What make is it? Do you know the
It's
model
a
number?
7300. Yes, it's a 7300.
Oh, the famous 7300. Do you like it?
Yes, I do. It's a great radio for amateur radio operations.
Do you have a call sign, Moshi?
Yes, I do. It's VK2 Radio 2 Phillips.
All right, Moshi. Well, it was a pleasure talking to you, and thank you for being part of my video.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure talking to you as well.
Take care, Moshi. Until next time.
You too.
Well, Moshi actually runs in real time on a local computer. How's that? I thought you might find this interesting. I found, well, a long time back I was really into the lock picking hobby, and I actually found this the other day, and I thought I'd just show it to you guys. This is a really nice little pocket lock pick. Yeah, it's all machined very nicely, polished up. I actually got it on where was it? Don't know if it was AliExpress. Yeah, it was AliExpress. I can't remember. It was years ago. So they probably don't do these things anymore. So it is what it is. But there is a series of different types of picks. Obviously, for those of you that are familiar with how this whole thing works, it's quite easy to figure out which one to use. So just sort of lay them out so you can actually see what's going on there. There's basically different sort of profiles for different types of pins, and there's different approaches that you can take in applying the pick. Now that's a tension bar. Essentially that's used to sort of put tension on the actual barrel, so it is possible to actually lock the pins in place. That's the whole principle of its operation, because if everything was machined perfectly and there was no tolerances, then it would be very difficult to pick a lock. It relies on the fact that there are sort of well, what I call surfaces that can lock well, lock up effectively, so the pin gets stuck, and when it gets stuck, we can actually force the pin to stay in a position. So the idea is that this little lever is pushed in there, and you can actually manipulate these pins. By the way, this is a transparent lock. It's actually designed for practicing lock picking for those in the hobby. So it sort of comes with a couple of keys, and it's essentially a lock, and that's most of the sort of insides of a sort of a generic lock, or padlock I should say. So we've got the tension bar, we can apply it there, and the idea is just to sort of put it there, apply a little bit of tension as if you are about to turn the barrel, and that actually forces the pins to sort of stay in a position once they actually get engaged. And the idea is to actually push the little pins into place. Now normally you wouldn't see this because this is a transparent lock, but the idea is that you can actually feel it as the pin actually engages and stays there. It doesn't drop back because you know, you can feel the tension in the pin from the spring. So once the pin is stuck in a position which you want it to be, it doesn't come back. So the idea is you work for each pin one at a time, and manipulate it and apply the tension appropriately, and eventually all the pins get engaged, and essentially the lock will open up. So it is a simple process, but don't take me as an expert. That just shows you that I'm not in the lock picking business. I'm still fiddling with it, but I finally got it open. There we go. So that's the whole principle of how this whole thing works. I hope you find that enjoyable. The idea is a close-up here, so you can actually see how those pins are engaged. Now, when you put a key inside, the key's got these various profiles cut into it, so all the pins line up perfectly, and you can turn the tumbler. So that's basically how it works, and you can see those pins. You see they're all nice and flat there. There we go. They're nice and flat, so the tumbler can be turned. The idea is, like I said, you have a tension bar. You then pick each pin so it actually stays in place, and effectively they line up, and it opens up. So here we're going to have another go. Tension, and start picking each one. So here in the close-up you'll be able to see as the pins move up and down. Eventually they'll lock into a position and they'll just stay there, and that's the sort of effectively the profile of the key. So once you get them all right, there we go, it opens up. So that is basic lock pick and picking technique from a non-professional. Hope you enjoyed it. Well, this is a really nice product. This is my optical fiber cable, and I got another one from Ali just recently, and I thought I'd just do a traditional unboxing of it so you guys can see what you get for your money. Packaging is not brilliant. This time, fortunately, it survived. So essentially it is just like a very thin sort of plastic bag, and the actual cable inside with a slightly thicker plastic bag. This is the actual type. It's 80 meters of optical fiber cable, and it's HDMI, and it's capable of 48 gigabits, which equates to 8K resolution at 60 Hertz or 4K at 120 Hertz. Pretty nice. Now these cables are not bidirectional. They have a transmitter at one end and a receiver at another end, an optical transmitter and a receiver. Pretty nice specs on this cable, and I did look around for quite a lot of cables. There's lots on the market, and I reckon this is probably the best one you can get for the price. It is very, very high spec, reasonably good quality, and it works extremely well. So you've got 80 meters of transmission with virtually no loss. Very nice cable. Now, as I said, there is a source and a receive, you might say. So essentially you've got a source and a display. The source is the sort of where the HDMI signal originates from, and the receive is your monitor, or you know, the other end where you need to receive the HDMI signal. So essentially you've got a transmitter and a receiver. Basic instructions just tells you to sort of what to look after. You know, don't bend it, sharp corners and sharp edges and so forth, because there is an optical fiber inside. So that's basically the cable, and I'm just going to show you the close-up of the actual transmitter and the receiver. So we've got the actual source. Just zoom in on that so you can have a closer look. That's the display that plugs into the monitor, and you've got another one which is the source. So essentially those two cables, or those two terminations, go into the appropriate way, and away you go. Really nice bit of hardware. So if you need a long run of HDMI, which I did, my Pelican case is miles away from my source or my studio, so that's